Hi, Lolly. How are you?
Hi Coco, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for making time to hang out with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Only a pleasure. So, okay, let's get right into it. So what inspired the name Lolli Native? Where does that come from?
Uh, my name is Lutando, so I don't know, but somehow the nickname for Lutando is Lolo or Lolly.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lolly is my nickname, and
So,
I come from Inyanga East, and it's known as the Native Yards.
okay.
Hence the native. Now, like Lolly Native, Lolly Wasenyanga type of thing.
Ah, word. That's so dope. Actually, I wouldn't have thought about that. So,
Yeah.
so you're a Cape Town based rapper, right? Um, how was your childhood like? And how did growing up in Cape Town kind of lead you to being an artist?
Uh, I grew up in a shebeen.
You grew up in
Uh,
Ishikine.
yeah, my mom had a shebeen.
Okay.
So when when the shipping is at your house, you kind of know everybody. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, because everyone comes and dances kokwin. Everyone comes to your space, yeah, well. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
and musically, that means I knew every song that's hot growing up, yeah, well. And
Mm-hmm.
my great grandmother, Wiley Kriega. So I feel like now I realize that influenced my sound a lot, yeah, well. And growing up growing up as well, I come from a dangerous neighborhood. And when I found hip hop, it was a good escape for me, you know, good way to find something that I can use my time with.
Yeah.
Yeah, from just listening to hip hop, not even as an artist, from just listening to hip hop and finding out who's hot, what's the best style, from just discovering the genre as is, just took me out of the streets, changed my life that way.
Yeah. And when would you say that happened in your life? Like that discovery of hip hop and just like discovering and the interest and finally deciding, okay, maybe this is something I need to try out, that keen interest.
I think I think in high school, because I also understood it now then as a tool to say everything that you wouldn't normally say, you know.
Mm,
So if there's a story in the hood that so there's a code in the hood, so you don't talk about what you don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, well, but you can rap about anything.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so it became a tool that you can say whatever you want, whatever you feel, and I love that about hip hop. So I'd say definitely in high school. And while I was discovering hip hop, I'm a big Kwaito fan.
Hmm.
So Kwaito also helped me keep it real to myself and keep it true to me, because through Kwaito I could travel townships like Ezola, which I've never been in, which I can only imagine how it is through the music that I'm listening to. And
Hmm.
that's exactly what I wanted to do for my neighborhood, Nyanga East, just paint a picture. But at the
Yeah.
same time, while painting a picture, I also find out that if I can succeed in what I'm doing, I could inspire so many kids to kind of realize that there's another way out.
Yeah.
Like you can make it out of the township. I mean, for me, back in the day, just being in Joburg was a dream. And when I got to Joburg, when I got to Joburg in less than 24 months, I was in New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I realized that this can actually happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so then a show comes on and it's called Rap for Me. What happened? Like what inspired what led you to entering that competition? Because I imagine that that's like one of your defining moments in your life and your career, right?
Yes, definitely.
What
Uh,
entering that
What's what what's funny about Rap for Me is that it's not the biggest competition I've entered.
Oh, okay.
And but it came in a time where I was like, nah, I need to call it call it quits now because I've won. When I got to Joburg, I didn't know anybody, so all I could really do was enter competitions. And
Okay.
lucky enough with the competitions, in the great finale, you have to perform, and that's my strong point. And if I have to perform, I'm gonna win. You know. So with I don't know, there's just something about being number one in a competition. I feel like number one never really makes it, you know. So I kind of through the years entering competition, I kind of also fell into that number one curse.
Yeah.
So I was done, but everyone supported me. So this competition, and they kept tagging me in it. And for me, winning was not the problem, but the problem was the curse of being number one. So I entered and made everyone who wanted me to enter proud and won it.
Yeah.
And the prize was a mentorship from Emtee.
Mm-hmm.
So would spend some time, be in the studio, learn from him, and also get a feature from him,
Yeah.
you know. And that's how it started. And by the grace of God, he was after the mentorship, he was going through a journey of being his own boss and starting his own record label. And we had created such a strong bond and strong relationship, working relationship. He said, I'm going to sign you first. So also the signing under the label had nothing to do with winning the competition, but that's how I met him.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you saying that Rap for Me was not the biggest competition you'd entered. Which one would you say was?
I'm trying to think.
Uh, ah,
Okay, the biggest two was when I opened for Asha in Orlando Stadium. Hansa had a
oh,
competition for that year. And 2014,
yeah.
I won Sprite Uncontainable. And the following year, I'd win a trip to New York and receive mentorship from Lil Wayne's manager, Cortez.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I read about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
I lost you for a minute.
Oh, I was asking, so how was that? How was that experience for you?
That was amazing. That was amazing for me. I think that was the point where I felt like anything is possible with what I'm doing because I've also been in a predicament where people are like, rapping in Xhosa is not gonna cut it, you know.
Mm,
And after that, I felt like if I can rap in Xhosa my way to Brooklyn, to Manhattan, I think I'm not gonna stop. You know, that was the defining moment where I knew this is my style, and I'm not gonna change.
mm-hmm.
Because you know, everyone that supports you wants to help with good intentions, but they always wanna kind of change the art in you to suit whatever is going on the time. Yeah, well, no one really understands that we we do this because we love it, and whether you make it or not, you're still gonna do it.
Yeah, true
Yeah,
story. I mean,
yeah,
if the passion, obviously, if not, depending on your reasons, you might just decide, hey man, let me go try something else, right?
definitely. For me, it was more about. It's always been more about the passion and also just trying to reach new heights
Yeah.
more than the fame, the lights, and all that.
Mm-hmm. Good story. So what would you say like your some of your challenges are, as a fairly new artist in the game?
You, I have a lot of challenges. So for me, the first challenge would be like I said, like your blessing could definitely be your curse. I'm blessed to have been introduced to one of the biggest artists in the country,
Mm-hmm.
but there's then that it's hard then to kind of get out of the shadow,
Yeah, I feel you.
like like shine on your own because everybody always want affiliate you as empty Emtee's artist instead of
Yeah.
instead of the artist Emtee discovered. I don't know if
Yeah.
you get what I mean. So
I-
that's all,
I-
so that's some of the new that's some of the new challenges I'm facing. But I always love the challenges as well because it's new challenges and you figure out new ways of overcoming it. And there's only one way of overcoming it. It's just dropping good music and solidifying your space within the hip hop in
mm,
the country.
yeah.
So I think other than that, every other challenge is a good challenge. Uh, yeah,
How would you say
language
that
as well.
language is a challenge?
Yeah,
How so?
I don't know because I feel like Xhosa hasn't really been it. It's not. It hasn't been solidified in the industry in terms of hip hop.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's another challenge. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah.
I mean, when artists like Dreamers Gap and Ifani that have had successful careers, I feel like there's definitely space for it. It's not a foreign thing. If anything, it's a good challenge, like you were saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good challenge, and I'm happy that you mentioned 3 months Cup and Ifani because I feel like they brought two different things.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely inspired. I featured one of the 3 months Cup members on my album just
Mm-hmm.
to take it back and solidify the project as a closer project.
I love that. Um,
Yeah.
would you would you say with regards to Cape Town, right? There are enough opportunities for artists to grow.
Now, yes. Now, yes, but definitely when I took a decision that I want to move to Joburg, I felt at the time the answer was no. If you
Yeah,
if you would asked me 8 years ago, I would have said no, but now I definitely say yes.
yeah. So are you
Yeah.
living in now full time, or are you still kind of somewhat in between the two cities?
No, I'm definitely in Joburg right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So taking it back to literally what we just spoke about, like Dream and Scap and I Funny, and there's D Kuala and Younger Chief, right? There's quite a few hip hop artists in the scene right now. What are you doing to kind of ensure that you stand out and you're not the typical Xhosa rapper that, the market has seen before?
I'm preaching.
You're preaching.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
It's, this is street gospel, you know. So as much as I trap, but my music is gospel, you know. That's why the title of the album is called Evangeli.
I love that, by the way.
So Evangeli is the gospel in Xhosa.
Yeah.
It's good news. It's taken from the English word the evangelist,
Mm-hmm.
and in the Bible the evangelist brought the gospel to the people, and that's how I see myself. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's different. So I took it to gospel. So I feature artists like Brian Temba to solidify and make sure that you understand it's gospel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations, by the way, on your album.
Thank you so
How
much.
how do you think people have received it since it dropped?
I'm loving the response actually. I feel like I've always wanted to drop an album,
Yeah.
and I was always scared, like, how will people receive it?
Mm.
I feel it was the right time, and it made me believe for real that God's timing is the best timing.
Mm-hmm.
Before dropping this album, I think we traveled 5 African countries,
Wow.
and that helped me with narrating my story, because in every country the story of an upcoming artist who wants to blow up is the same, whether you in Zimbabwe, in Harare, whether you're in Windhoek, the story is the same.
Yeah.
And it really helped, because in each and every song that I did, I kind of did my research, because Xhosa is actually reached that way, and Xhosa people are very their language. So I made sure, and Christians too. So if you're going to tell Christian stories, you have to be sure you're quoting the right verses.
Yeah.
So I definitely made sure about that.
I've already got like favorites on it. What are yours? Do you have favorites? Or is it just one? Don't be modest. Okay.
I
It's
think
okay.
I think I think my favorites are not have nothing to do with the music,
Mm-hmm.
because with this project was I was having the best time of my life
Mm-hmm.
and the worst time of my life at the same time, you know.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
So the first song, which is Mama, and I knew that if you're gonna write your mom, there's mama songs, but it has to be good. So the first song is an apology to my mom. So I kind of didn't care how people take the song, but it was my mom that when she understands. So it's a personal song to me. Yeah, but it's like a letter to my mom,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah,
And
and
then
I'm
did she
yeah,
hear
and
what does she think? Does she like the song?
she cried in the listening session.
Oh, that's
She
cool.
she cried in the listening session, and that's why I'm saying it was the best time and the hardest time of my life, because just before we drop, I also have a song called Ekaya,
Mm.
which is about going back home, and my dad never got to hear that song. I lost him last year in October, so
I'm so sorry to
but
hear that.
it was a tough time, especially for the longest time. He didn't believe in the music thing, you know.
Green.
He
Yeah.
just he, he just believes a man should go work and earn a salary, come home, go to work. But
Yeah.
but he heard one of the songs, and for the first time, a song I dropped before, for the first time he understood what I'm trying to say. There's a song called Bambulele, I dropped before. It's about a boy laying dead, killed, with the mother having to go witness the scene, Eloksheen. So if you're from the township, you'd understand that scene. So when my
Yeah.
dad heard that song, he said, keep going. I see what you're doing. I love what you're doing. And I got his blessings. And that's how I got to record the album.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Must have been very
So,
bitter.
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
My says so. My personal favorites are uh Yiz'apha and Lutando. Those are my top two. But obviously, very stunning album, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As you can hear, both of them are also personal songs. I mean, every word on both songs. So
Yeah,
the album is very personal.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love because also I feel like a lot of South Africa, a lot of rappers in South Africa really, especially the new age ones, right? So there's a lot of influences across the world. We've got trap now, we've got drill. It's very easy to kind of imitate, right? What we hear. And I found that over the years, the artists that stick through the test of time are the ones whose artists and whose people can relate to. You know what I mean? So I absolutely love that about the kind of artist and the kind of writer that you are.
Definitely. I appreciate that you picked that up. You know,
Yeah,
we work hard to try and make sure that whoever's listening relates and understands that the music came from the heart instead of
yeah,
just writing beats on it. And I wanted to take that out and I wanted you to feel like that because especially on my debut album, there'll be lots of time to trap, but my on my debut album I needed to go personal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that also that speaks about the kind of audience that you're trying to speak to. You know what I mean? So, how did the relationship with Brian Temba and Black Tears, and obviously the work that came with that, come about?
Uh okay, I'll talk about Brian Tammer.
Okay,
Okay, so also the reason I was saying it was one of the worst time I had just quit my job. So when I got to Pretoria, I worked as a waiter for the longest time.
okay.
Yeah, I worked as a waiter and I actually served Brian Temba.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I asked him for a feature. He's a nice guy, and I was a good waiter. Like, yo, keep pushing, and I'll definitely give you a feature. And when the time was right,
What?
I
Just
felt
like
like I've
that?
been pushing. Yeah, and when the time was right, I felt like I've pushed. He said, I see you. Let's go to the studio.
Excuse me. How lucky are you also?
Yeah, yeah. And I always say that's why the song is called Noble Bell. He definitely wanted to go R&B. I was like, mm-mm.
It's like,
Shout out to him. But I was like,
yeah.
no, because the story also says for me, but uThixo unobubele ngami. Yabo.
Mm.
So I definitely wanted it to be gospel. He produced the song for me, by the way.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's why I'm so happy that I always made sure that I work because I met great people through just working,
Your
you
life
know.
experience as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my life, my yeah, and that's definitely part of it. I wish you were at the listening session. So I brought the restaurant to life
Yeah.
to yeah, and this time I was not serving food, I was serving good music.
For you.
Yeah.
They'll
So
pay more. I'll be able to attend your other ones.
yeah, and the producers, Black Tears, Master BC, and Knife Beats, who's the main producer,
Mm-hmm.
were people I work with. I worked with since my come up. I've been working with Knife Beats. So to be
Okay.
honest with you, when we were about to record the album, my brother Emtee suggested who we could work with,
Mm-hmm.
but also I felt like with this one, I really wanted people just know where I come from and who can help me tell my story as solid as I can. And
Yeah.
we also avoided obvious features that we could have got because I felt like it would overshadow the story. You know, felt
Yeah.
like big names would probably overshadow the story, and my story wouldn't come through the way I wanted to come through.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
actually, what were you trying and hoping to achieve with this album?
I think I was trying to tell a story of patience, persistence, and trusting the process.
Of
That's
that.
that's that's the only story I wanted to tell. Cause
Mm-hmm.
as I said, I got lucky before we dropped. I traveled so much and met such great stars in Africa that the story is the same. You know, you
Yeah.
everyone sees the lights, everyone sees the camera, but nobody knows that this took 10 years. Some have been doing this for 15 years, you know,
You
and
saw.
if you don't make it, nobody cares. If you don't
Oh
make
my.
it, nobody cares how long it took because you didn't reach the point where Coco Brown could be asking how did it happen,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
it's so
Yeah,
the overnight story takes about 10 years. Everyone
definitely.
thinks, oh, your life, you miraculously so open, like you opened your eyes one day and your life was different. But it's like not even the slightest, right?
Definitely, and that's why where I come from, they say it takes a community to raise a child, and it was about thanking each and everyone. On Mama, I was
Yeah.
thanking my mom. On Unobubel, I was thanking God. There's a song called Nyanga featuring Emtee, where
Mm-hmm.
I thank the people of Nyanga East for always showing me love and support. Because before we have Twitter fans or Facebook fans or Insta fans. We have real life people who
Yeah.
love what we're doing. Before an actual song or actual hit, there's actual people who love what we're doing. And that's what I was saying on Nyanga. And on Lutando, I was thanking my life partner because there's someone who goes through the struggles with you. You know, when you take an L, she takes an L, you know, and that's a hero nobody would know, you know. And
Yeah.
so this album was about saying thank you to each and everybody, family.
And
Yeah,
so I see you've got an upcoming single dropping soon with Simply Zash, right? How
yeah.
did that come? Oh, it's actually
Oh,
a song because obviously we're yet to hear it. How did that collab come about?
that one was easy.
Okay.
Because me and Zash are both gospel artists, and just before I dropped the album, on the actually when I dropped my first single, a
Mm-hmm.
day before I got into an accident.
Oh my
Yeah,
word! I'm so excited for that.
yeah. I got into an accident and almost lost my life, and I was just grateful that I made it through that accident. I've never really been in such a serious accident where the car is written off, where I have to see an airbag. And Zesh has been wanting to work for so long. And a week later, I was like, let's do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it now. Because if I had died last week, it wouldn't have happened. And it was a gospel song, and that's what I do best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear the song. Absolutely. And yeah, man, I'm excited. Can't wait you guys to drop it already.
Yeah, thank you so much. There's a single coming with Manebe in Namibia. There's
Mm.
a single coming with Rough Kid in Zambia.
I love
Yeah.
that. So
Yes,
actually
man.
speaking of all the work that you have coming up, what's the rest of the year looking like for you and the near future?
Definitely pushing the album. We're shooting a lot of videos. On Monday, I'm shooting Yiz'apha, and that's gonna drop soon. We also have
Yeah.
a documentary that we're working on. That's also gonna drop soon, and
Yeah.
definitely traveling South Africa, taking Evangeli to the people.
I love that.
Yes, ma'am.
All the best with all of that, man. I'm rooting for you, and yeah, I can't wait to see what else you and Emtee work on,
Yes.
and you growing into this an artist of your own, and just taking over your own space.
Yeah, and always say I'm forever grateful to my brother Emtee. It's not easy
Yeah.
giving someone a torch. We don't see that every day, and he gave me the torch, and that's why I made sure on the album that I feature some unfamiliar names so that I can also pass the torch like it was passed to me.
Yeah, true story. That's incredibly important.
Yes, ma'am.
So, before we end our interview and our little chat, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yes,
Before we
I like the people to stream the album. It's available on all DSPs. I like people to follow me at Lolli_Native. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on TikTok as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're TikTok.
I don't really understand TikTok. I just post videos of me performing.
We'll just figure it out. I'm telling you, not all of us are, but hey, we're trying to do what we
Yeah,
need to do, right?
I mean we're in an industry where it's adapt or die. So I'm trying to adapt as much as I
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God. So sorry about my dog, but thank you so much for your time.
no problem.
One rooting for you, man, and I can't see what you have in store for us. And all the best, yeah.
Thank you so much. There's such great things coming from Lolli Native, from Emtee Records, the label. I
Yeah,
appreciate all the support.
yeah.
Yeah, Bule.
All right, Lolly. Catch you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye.